Where's the leadership? Because the way
There
you
is none.
sound, if you were in you went to the NYPD, they all want to listen to you, and they would be, and especially the management, they would be fearing you because they don't know which way you'll go. You might want to agree with them, or I'm going to take you to task because you know all the rules. Because it seems, I'll tell you, in the police department, that is a good old boys club and we know because we've seen where some of the leadership was hanging out, and they don't have all the police officers back, or the captains association, the lieutenants, or the sergeants. They're all the same where, it almost seems like when you're in the head of the union, you have your little clique, you have your little cronies, and those cronies also might be attached to the police commissioner or the chief of department. But if you're a regular guy, kind of like myself, that didn't bother to be associated with all these people, and then you get hit with something, whether it be minor or big, where's the union on that? People always say that. Where are the unions? Because that's the problem. So you sound like you weren't like those guys. So now these guys, it's because if you see the problem today, that's what I think I see, is the cronies and the leadership are doing exactly what you originally said in the beginning. They have their take-home cars. Like, look at this congestion pricing thing in New York City. See how the unions were crying about that? They were all cheering for Kathy Hochul. Some even gave her a lot of money. A lot of money. So now what's the problem with what? Now you have to pay for it as the union head. You're going, what's going on with that? Why do I have to pay, right?
Right. But you see, at the end of the day, the union heads are not paying for it. The members are paying for their cars. They're paying for their expenses. They're paying for their expense account. Now, look, don't get me wrong. They got work to do. I get that. But at the end of the day, when you talked about congestion pricing, I suggested in congestion pricing is many people fly in and out of Newark, New Jersey, LaGuardia, Kennedy Airport. Why don't we put a 25 cents surcharge on each bag that's put on the aircraft? The numbers are already there. Use that money to offset the cost of the transportation division or the MTA that we need to cover us in the city and the state of New York, as opposed to putting that $9 charge on the backs of hardworking men and women. I have a neighbor who spends $200 a month to go to work. Okay, he's not getting to be able to write that off of his taxes or anything else, but you want him to go to work. You want him to pay the $200. You want him to travel to and from. You want him to do all of these things, but he's not getting a break here. And then you want to talk about, well, I took it from $15 to $9. No. What you should have done in the beginning is sit down with New Jersey and say, why not put, and just so that we're clear, I sent a letter to then federal government when I was president of the organization, when Bloomberg and everybody first started talking about congestion pricing. I sent a letter to them, and it's documented, saying, why not use the airport's surcharges on bags or individuals coming in from other countries? Just like if I go to another country, I have to pay an entry fee. When I get there, you go to Israel, you go to different places, you pay when you get there, when you go through customs. That money could be used to offset the cost, but they don't want to hear it that way, because this is just yet another money grab for the state of New York. Because if you're trying to tell me that it's $9 today, that same $9 is going to be there 10 years from now, you're sadly mistaken. Because it's probably going to be 19 by then or 29 by then. You don't know. But that's their way of keeping the people of the city of New York in a barrel. And then you get those to complain and say it's unfortunate, like a firefighter who protects us every single day during fires. They go from one firehouse to another. They have to pay when they get into the city. Then if they leave the city and come back into the city, they got to pay again out of their own pocket. Who's reimbursing these people for this? But now you want him to save your life when the five-story building's in flames. You want him to be there or her to be there to help you. You can't do it that way. It doesn't work like that. No one's talking to each other. Everybody's kicking the can, like I said, down the road. There's no more road, and now it's time for a change. I don't care what you tell me. It's time for a change.
I like your idea, actually. I never thought of anything like that myself. And wow, 25 cents a bag. You got a lot. There's a ton of people coming in and out of the airport. That would offset that cost. That would.
Absolutely.
That's even smarter than putting How much of that costs to even put those devices up that have to read your license plate and all that? It's, and then you saw how the police department was quick to enforce things there, but I guess they don't want them to enforce other things around the city.
No. Let's not enforce people jumping the turnstile. Let's not enforce people getting in the back of the bus. Let's not enforce safety and security of the platform of civilians. Let's enforce this guy who's coming down the street and he's trying to get around this $9 course because he got off at 58th Street instead of 61st Street. Now he got caught out there for $9. No, that doesn't work, Sal. It just doesn't work. Not for me anyway. I could be wrong, but I think that when you look at it, the mayor of the city of New York has members on the MTA board. I didn't hear nobody from his office that is appointed by him on the MTA board outraged against this. I didn't hear them talk about don't raise the fare. I didn't hear none of that. When Governor Pataki put me on the MTA board, every time that they talked about raising the fare, I voted no. And they got mad at me. People got mad. Said, why you say vote no? Well, you're not doing nothing for nobody. You want to keep taking their money, but you're not doing nothing for them. When you do something for them, I'll vote yes for a fare increase. Until then, the answer is no. It's like my wife tells me. My wife tells me all the time, no. Okay.
You know what it is? See, you are common sense and you're trying to be fiscally conservative and say, if we're going to spend money, what are we making here? What do we do? Because you're penalizing taxpayers that, these are just the average citizens. There's no reason to be burdening them with anything. It's a burden to be paying for this. They got all these other things they're paying for in New York City. There's a tax for everything. And here you come with this congestion pricing. I'm Sal Greco, and you're watching and listening to The Sal Greco Show. Please like, share, and subscribe.